Mm. Oh, shit. Oh, I'll have to quit and rejoin the meeting. Too.
That's fine.
I'll just join the meeting in momentarily. Some
Let's wait for our presenter to join back.
hey. So I have to give permissions to share my desktop. Yeah, I can see the desktop.
Yes.
So I have created a news companion for Indian languages for the blind people. So there are a lot of use cases for the text to speech, news companion, virtual assistant, creating your audio podcast, speech enabled websites, free open source for speech disabilities, and computer literacy, and reader for visually impaired. Essentially, it's the news companion. So let's go through the overview of the system. So how the speech is produced. So whenever we want to create a audio audio part, then we give the input text. So text is processed, so it is generated into phonemes, and acoustic model is created, and it creates a neural the neural vocoder will convert the MEL spectrogram into the speech waveforms, and you can hear the speech. So this is the basic overview of the system of text to speech. Now let's get to the fundamentals of the audio or vocal tract produces a speech, and this is the raw audio waveform. The energy of from the vocal tract is transmitted through the air in the form of sound waves. So when we record this audio waveform, it comes something like this. And how does the hearing work in our brain? Our brain basically converts the audio waves into the male frequency, and that is sent to our brain, and we understand what is being spoken exactly. So essentially our brain understands the frequency, and it doesn't exactly understand the amplitude of the airwaves that is coming towards us. It's more the brain, the way it understands it in the form of male frequency. So that's why it's important to understand, convert the audio waveforms into the male frequency spectrogram. So this is a simple architecture of Hackathon 2, which is the basis of creating a mel spectrogram. So we give the inputs text, and it does the character embedding. There is a convolution layer and bidirectional LSTM. This LSTM is already uh, has the location sensitive attention. So depending on our frequency, it depending on your input text and frequency, it can create audio waves appropriately. And so there is a stop token, and finally at the output layer there is a five conv layer, and it converts to mel spectrogram, and finally the audio waveform is given as the output. So this is the basic architecture for the text to speech system essentially.
So, Neeraj, I have a question. So, when doing this hackathon, product or submission for the hackathon entry, how critical it is for our students to learn the algorithm behind the what is being demonstrated.
Well, algorithm is the foundation of all the uh, technology. Basically, if you understand algorithm, you should tweak it because many of the Indian speech recognition systems and Indian text to speech are is not developed in India as such. Google and all those deep tech means technology firms develop in US. So if Indians can understand and develop the understand the algorithm and develop the speech recognition and natural language processing for Indian language, that will be more easier, and it will truly um, express and the Indian perspective, and is easy to develop and understand such systems. So
So, while we are on the call, we would like to take attendance. So, can you please put your name and college in the chat? Kindly put your name and college in the chat because we want to just track the attendance. This was also an ask by the RV College, which is organizing this hackathon. Please put your name and your college name in the chat here, please.
okay, so it's important to understand the architecture and technology behind what is going on. So let's go ahead. So let's see the language map of India. There are multitude of languages, and there huge problems that are faced by a lot of Indians in communicating in different languages. So this will definitely help in understanding of what is going on with the other persons, and it will essentially help Indians to go develop to be expert in the technology and be successful. Right. So there are a lot of Indian languages uh, speech recognition systems available. So one is Vakyansh open source models. That is already available in GitHub. If you can search for Google, then recently Whisper was launched by the OpenAI team. It is an open source system, and it has almost all the Indian languages covered. And it is important to understand how these algorithms are developed. So let's quickly see what is the OpenAI uh, architecture. So as we have seen, logmail spectrogram is the way how our brain works. So essentially, the audio waves are converted to the logmail spectrogram, and it goes through the conv1d, and there is an encoder block, and there is the decoder block. It is essentially an encoder decoder mechanism that is used in the Whisper. So this it has two tasks mainly: language recognition, and then speech to text conversion, and it has third task, language translation. So I speak in Kannada or Hindi. It has ability to convert it to the uh, text in Hindi, as well as translate it from Hindi text to English text. So that is also available in the OpenAI Whisper. So these are the three important tasks for the OpenAI Whisper. So such type of systems can be very useful. So these are the tokens, special tokens when we overall architecture and start of transcript. It will first, whenever we it receives the spectrogram, it will identify the tag if there is a speech, and then transcribe and convert it to text. And finally, if there is a translation task assigned, it will translate the text to English. So Whisper architecture is basically an end-to-end approach. It will convert our audio input and split it into 30 seconds chunk, and every 30 seconds chunk will be converted to the audio text, and it will also do the two English speech translation. So it has following tasks such as language translation, face level timestamp, multilingual speech transcription, and to English speech translation. Now, let's come to our systems. So, I have created a basic architecture of for a mobile phone. Essentially, visually impaired people will be using the mobile phone and most likely not a laptop or computers for their day-to-day use. So I have created a Hindi. We are getting the data from the Hindi news website, and it will list what are the headlines for today. And when you click on a particular headline, then it will fetch the audio part of from our CellStrat Hub, and it will play the audio. Now, this is a very basic application and a basic product. There are a lot of opportunities to enhance it. So let's discuss what can we do. So instead of uh, getting the news headlines from the single website, we can use multiple websites. There are at least thousands of Hindi news websites available. So we can fetch the data and cluster the news according to the topic, and for a particular headlines, you can fetch the audio data and play it to the server, play it to the user, sorry. Right, so there are other opportunities to enhance the architecture to multiple languages. User can essentially select a particular language that we want to fetch, and then cluster according to topic, and play the news, play the audio for the news. We can definitely enhance this architecture to include the speech recognition. So currently, Whisper can be used to uh, read the means take the audio from the user and convert it to the text, and we can analyze this text as a command for our application, and accordingly, it can give the appropriate response and in a particular language to the user. So there is no need for the user to learn English and give command in English language. The person can give command in Kannada language and he will hear the audio in Kannada itself. So these are some I just summarized the enhancements. So integrated speech to text for users, scale up to multiple languages. And then there is opportunity. Currently, I have developed this in the iOS. We can develop it into the Android application also. For many users, will be using Android. Will be using Android. So, in summary, there is a lot of opportunity for speech recognition and speech translation and text to speech in Indian languages. It is very scarcely explored area. Very few researchers are working on it, and very few products are there around this particular area. So we can definitely use this product, and there is a lot of opportunity for the market. So let's see the demo. This is essentially the code for this thing. I will just show in the simulator. So this is the website. So today's news, Mamuli Vivad में बेराम पति ने जिसमें भारत का टूटा सपना यूएसए की गैब्रियल ने जीता मिस यूनिवर्स. So let's see how we can fetch this data. So whatever news is here, that is fetched in the real time on the application, and you can play this thing.
मिस यूनिवर्स, भारत का टूटा सपना, उसकी गैब्रियल ने जीता मिस यूनिवर्स का ताज.
Let's play the other headline.
सेना दिवस के मौके पर पीएम मोदी ने दी शुभकामनाएं, कहा हर भारतीय को हमारी सेना पर गर्व है.
So let's see what is the code for this. Anyone familiar with the iOS development? Not so sure.
Anyone is a mobile app developer here? Please speak up or send in chat.
Okay, so I think not many are there with who are there for app development. But okay, essentially this is how the code works. You will fetch the headlines at the top and list them in a list view. And when user clicks on a particular list, fetch and translate API will fetch the data from our CellStrat Hub.
Can you increase the font quite a lot? It's too small.
Is better?
Still small.
This one.
Yeah, slightly better. Maybe one more. Yeah, better.
Yeah, okay. So essentially, it will fetch the data from our CellStrat Hub. So I have the API key, and it will fetch the data and play the audio. So this is a simple program. There is a lot of opportunity for enhancements. As we discussed earlier, we can include the speech to text and get the commands from the user. And actually, it can be a conversational chatbot for the user who wants to use.
So Neeraj, is this useful for visually impaired or in general as well?
In general, also, it can be very useful. People who are busy doing some work and they want to just go through the audio news, so they can automate launch the app and give the speech commands. So this way, they don't have to constantly look at the mobile screen to hear to the news.
So how does this compare with Amazon Alexa, which is also a speaking, chatbot? It uses Lex and Polly, right? Alexa also kind of does the same thing.
That is mainly used in the English language. I'm not sure how accurate it is in the other languages. Like if you speak in Hindi, मुझे आज की खबरें सुना और आज इंडियन क्रिकेट में क्या हुआ. So I'm not sure how accurate it is in terms of Indian languages. So this can be very useful application and product, because there are huge opportunities in Indian languages in the coming times. People want to use Indian languages, many of the people. Even at home, we speak in our language, we don't speak in English, most likely. Yeah. So,
Folks, any other questions?
So I'll stop present.
So a few more questions from my side. Uh, so we can automate this reading of vernacular news from, let's say, Hindi newspaper like Dainik Jagran, Amar Ujala, etc., right?
Yeah.
Or any other regional language, newspapers. And now it can be automated to read multiple headlines, not just one headline at a time, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely. We can tweak our application to read multiple headlines. What are the headlines today? It will read all the 10 headlines that are received from the website.
and since this is being positioned as for visually disabled folks, can it have Braille support in the mobile phone? Are mobile phones supporting Braille support?
Yes, definitely. If you see the settings, so there is a part, there are,
So in iOS and Android, there is, or is it phone hardware level setting or in the software of iOS and Android?
it does the vibration.
लेवा हो सकता है पहाड़ों का एडवेंचर बट 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 बट
Sorry, I was playing with it and something happened. So there is a,
Your screen is not shared if you're showing something.
oh, sorry. Just a moment. Let me show the Braille support settings.
So Braille is, those who don't know, Braille is a way where visually impaired folks interact with different devices.
So let me show the screen. Yeah. So there is Braille support settings in the Braille input you can give in the iOS. So this way, visually impaired can actually uh, read and give the text command using the Braille. So it gives the vibration for giving the input because on the smooth screens it is not possible for.
For Braille, yes.
Yeah.
On hardware keyboards, we have seen Braille keyboards,
Yeah.
but on a smartphone screen, you can't have physical, Braille trigger. So you have to have a sort of a spring or sensation in the press of the screen here.
Yeah.
So we have shown the client side code. Maybe you can you explain the server side, how it's calling the text-to-speech API, maybe on CellStrat Hub, and how that architecture works in backend.
Oh.
So folks, this is a two-stack solution. So client side and
So
also
just
server side.
let me log in into CellStrat. It will take 2 minutes soon.
Sure. So it will be down to the imagination of the hackathon teams or startup teams, how you enhance this kind of product for more use cases or, better, consumer engagement. So here, Neeraj, who's one of our AI team leads, will be available for mentoring the hackathon teams on this product if you want to take this up as your hackathon submission entry.
Any other product.
Or for that, any other matter. I mean, we are bringing all of our AI experts to mentor the hackathon teams, in product launches as well as startup launches. Even our team leads are willing to be co-investors or co-founders if you are planning to launch startups out of this hackathon, because this hackathon is not just a hackathon, it is also a startup pitch event where we'll have angel investors in attendance to evaluate promising student startups. Share your screen maybe.
Okay, I will share it in Visual Studio. I have developed over there.
No, you can show the API architecture, how you don't have to start the workspace for that.
The
In
API.
API Marketplace, you can show it. No? It will directly work. the TTS or whatever API.
Oh, this one here.
It doesn't
Oh,
need to
okay.
start what's there.
Sorry. I'll just share the screen and show how it works. So here is our text-to-speech API for Indian languages. So there are so many languages supported. Bengal.
Font size.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so many languages supported: Bengali, Manipuri, Tamil, Malayalam, and we are bringing in more languages like Marathi or Odia, Punjabi. All these languages will be included. Now, this is the text I have given. This is the sample text. So when we click on this, yeah, the speech is ready. Oh, okay. I think I'm not reading the thing correctly. Okay. So, any
questions, audience?
see, this is how to use the API. Yeah, given the sample code over here, language Hindi, gender female. So we have given the Python snippet over here, how to call the API. Yeah.
Okay, so any final questions, audience, for Neeraj here about this particular solution? Did everybody understand the full stack architecture, the client side and the server side being rendered through an API for TTS? TTS is text to speech.
So the interaction with the server is only through REST interface, or is there any other mechanism like an SDK?
This is currently a REST API call. You're right. It's a JSON web service request. If you in the last Neeraj was showing the
Right.
it's a REST API. You're right. So JSON web service interface. So you can of course set up a Python Flask server for synchronous. So in AWS we can set up synchronous APIs as well. So this is asynchronous API infrastructure which we have on the AI platform CellStrat Hub.
Okay. And for the hackathon, we get access to the server side, meaning like I see that there are you can spin up the infrastructure by tier, right? So basic tier or free tier, plus alpha, beta, and so on, right? So what kind of tier will be placed on in order to develop a solution?
So you will have access to our Gamma tier, which is our most premium GPU tier. If you are part of the hackathon team, so we will be able to upgrade you to Gamma plus whatever you need, our high Gamma GPU tier.
Okay.
So, because we want you to launch, commercial grade products in startups.
Okay.
So you have access to our entire system and our massive, AI expert community.
Wonderful.
So there are a lot of jumpstart packs and APIs on this for jumpstart launches. So this is a low code, no code AI platform for which my company CellStrat has developed. And you can see on this, there are a variety of ready-made APIs. Some of them are, state of the art from OpenAI and Zero Shot, in the end. And you can also launch your new APIs. Let's say you want to train a model and launch a private API for the purposes of this hackathon or your business in general. You can launch your private APIs here. and connect it with an API authorization key. The whole thing is basically a wrapper on AWS AI deployment. So we are using our usual AWS services like EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, Lambda microservices architecture, DynamoDB. So we are using all the AWS services to create a simplified AI deployment architecture here. And then you can develop, mobile app, web app, using, React architecture, so iOS, Android. You can also set up, the client on our, marketplace here. We have a no-code web development platform here where you can set up the client just like this object detector client. So let me show you the API which Neeraj solution is calling. He's calling a pre-deployed API here called TTS Indian or Text-to-Speech Indian. So this we have a client here which is a React client, but Neeraj, which is who showed just now, he actually showed it on a mobile app client.
Yeah.
But we do have a web client also for the same task here, and we have given the detailed, a JSON protocol how to call this API.
Okay.
So this is a full MLOps platform which allows you to do jumpstart AI development and launches.
Got it.
Any other questions, audience, about the product today or this platform in general or about CellStrat? So let me show you the upcoming workshops as well. We have lots of exciting hackathon related workshops lined up, every Sunday until the first week of Feb. So I encourage you to attend all of these upcoming workshops. So all of our AI team leads, many of our AI lab team leads who are, world-class AI scientists, they are presenting these full stack product workshops to assist the hackathon teams to get trained. And you can even pick up these ideas as your submission, and the appropriate team lead will assist you in enhancing that solution and trying to win that hackathon or launching your startup through that event. So you can see the upcoming workshops on our meetup page where you got access to this particular meetup. So next Sunday we are pleased to bring activity description solution, which is a video analytics. So it will be like a automatic cricket commentary, to put it simply. So it uses an advanced Facebook algorithm called Omnivore. And after that, we will have a text to image generator using the new Stable Diffusion, which is the sensation right now. And then a movie trailer generator using reinforcement learning. So these are commercial grade products that team leads are launching, and you can launch them as your own entry, or of course you can present your own entry in hackathon not related to these, and our AI team leads are available to assist you in a variety of ways. So I hope you enjoyed this session. Thanks to Neeraj sir for presenting this. Any final questions? So I have shared the hackathon registration form. If you have not yet registered, please do register so that you will be added to our hackathon WhatsApp group, and then you will receive more relevant communication through that relevant WhatsApp group. Okay. Any final comments or questions? Okay. Thanks, Neeraj.